Hi everyone, I'm here with my daily video and we're back to a planning video. So today what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and, I guess you could say, kind of kick off a little bit of a new series that can be ongoing. Not unlike the Wife of a Chef series that is very slow going but ongoing. And that was my last daily video that you might not have seen because you saw like cook with me in the title and it kind of threw you for a loop. To be honest, I didn't really cook very much of anything. I showed like a super easy and like lazy person's hack to being able to bake fresh bread. We're talking like, the prep time for it, even the dough, it's less than 5 minutes. So that's the last video. But for this video, this one is about planning. And this one is coming about a bit because it was a little bit of a request. A couple of people have requested a number of things that kind of all go into what this video is going to be about. That's going to kind of start and lead itself into subsequent videos that will kind of make it seem like, in a big picture way, it all kind of goes together. So, some of the questions that I've gotten directly through like direct message on YouTube here. I don't know if you knew that you could actually send messages here on YouTube, but you can. So I've gotten messages on YouTube, I've gotten comments, I've gotten direct messages on my Instagrams, because I have more than one, and all my contact information is in the description of this video. And people have asked me all sorts of things as it has to do with the approach that I take to planning. Just because, as it seems, and I didn't think that the way that I do planning is very different from other people, but other people have told me that it kind of is. Oh, in my Facebook group also. I've had people send me messages on Facebook or through my Facebook page and everything. So, the way that I do planning is a different sort of a way, because I do something, number one, I do something called batch prepping planner pages, where I will sit down and I will do a number of different pages. I will basically pre-sticker them, and I won't use prefabricated like sticker kits, I guess you could say. I use only sticker leftovers, meaning a random assortment of stickers. Something else that I do is I do plan as you go, but I do plan as you go in a little bit of a different way. I do plan as you go in that I will pre-sticker a page, and then I will fill in the information on the pages, sometimes weeks and weeks after I've pre-stickered a page. Another thing I do, which I've already kind of mentioned this, is I don't use a sticker set for like any one given page for like a weekly planning. And so people have asked me how I do that. And I've thought about it for a while because I've wanted to kind of answer all the questions, because I like to interact with you all in the comments. I love to create focused and pointed content for you all that'll be useful to you. And so I really always think really wholeheartedly about how it is that I go about doing a video that will be most useful to you all. So that's kind of what this video is going to start and kind of touch upon. We're going to look at planner stickers and planner pages so that I can kind of start to lay the groundwork for something that is much more kind of big picture and is going to maybe help to answer some questions. And not just answer questions, but like offer you some solutions, like actual visual examples, as well as me just kind of explicating. That means kind of like unpacking the sorts of ideas that I present to you as a way for you to maybe try out a new way of planning. I like to do something that I do think of as white space planning. Or if you are interested in a little bit of a creative challenge, like a little bit of a plan as you go, plan with me challenge just for yourself, or just going along on the journey with me in the way that I do planning, well, I invite you to watch the video, and we can just kind of talk about all of these things. And this can just be the start of something new and fun, just like another thing to do in planning. So that's what this video is about. Sorry about the extra long intro, but let's go ahead and just get right into it. So as I said in the intro, we're going to look at planner pages, and we're going to look at planner stickers, and we're specifically going to look at planner pages that are before the pen style. And that's because, as I mentioned in the video intro, I do batch prep, which basically means I go through and visually structure a page using planner stickers, and I don't use prefabricated sort of put together kits. I use mostly all for my sticker stash. So let's go ahead and look at these planner pages, and I will do my very best to try and explain to you how I do what I do using planner stickers that are otherwise kind of unrelated to one another, just because they all come from different sets, or they're just, I hate to say random, but they're just like the a la carte sort of planner stickers that you would get, that are the die cut ones or that are the icon ones, and just kind of a little bit of a precursor. The way that I do visual design and visual art is I actually use color theory is what it's called, and that is basically how color relates to other colors. So if you can recall from art class, or if you know anything about colors and complementary colors, red and green are complementary colors, purple and yellow are complementary colors, and then blue and orange are complementary colors, and this is all in the color wheel and the color spectrum. I use color theory by and large as just the way that I do visual design and art, just across the board. It's a really, really easy way for me to do it. I also use warm and cool colors as a way to help inform and just kind of dictate how and what I do to lay out any page, whether it's a planner page or whether it's doing like the professional design work that I do, doing publication work, or doing advertisements, even the way that I do visual branding and identity work. So let's go ahead and take a look at these planner pages, and like I said, these are before the pen, and I'll just kind of talk you through it all and teach you a little bit about color theory and how I do planning without like a predetermined sort of a kit. So let's go ahead and look at the pages. Okay, so we're going to start with this one, and this one is for the week of 8/15 to 8/21, and this one is actually a lot more simplified and plain than kind of some of the ones that we're going to get into kind of towards the end. But something that I always like to do is I always like to include somewhere on my page a quote sticker, and then what I will do is I will use the washi tape as a little bit of the inspiration for the rest of the page and how that will kind of lay itself out. I always like to structure any of my vertical columns by splitting them into two different sections, and then I will use the colors of the headers as they are connected to just the colors here. And this is a Harry Potter quote there. We've all got both light and dark inside us. What matters is the part we choose to act on. That's who we really are. So up here in this column, I always like to use this column as a little bit of like a just a large scale big picture sort of view about what I want to keep in mind during any sort of weekly planning sort of setup. And then what I will do is I will go through, and this is my on-the-go planner wallet is the way that I think about it. This is a Filofax Austerley in personal compact size, and it is small, but I do pack a whole lot of information into it because I use smaller stickers, and I use them in very, very specific sorts of ways. So this is a little bit of, you know, what it looks like. This is meant to be, this would otherwise be like the size of a quarter box. And then I put a die cut sticker on top of that just because I'm working on book illustrations and other such things. And I'm also going to be doing some Bible journaling because that's actually a part of the wish list for the author of the book that I'm illustrating. So there was a request for that. So Bible journaling, or just illuminated text, you can think of it that way, like illustrations on book pages, that is going to be coming as a part of this series of like the whole plan like an artist. So let me just talk a little bit about the colors. So this center washi tape right here was a washi sample that I got from someone in Hawaii off of Etsy, and this, you know, looks like Van Gogh's Starry Night. And even though this red right here is not in this palette, what you should note about this red is that, or even the orange, is that as you can see, this is the whole rainbow spectrum. It's essentially a rainbow palette. Every color is represented, but I just will have two different versions of it. This is a warm blue and this is a cool blue. This is a warm red and this would be a cool red. And the way that warm and cool colors work is colors that are warm will appear like they advance towards you, and colors that are cool will feel like they retreat away from you. So in painting, you can actually use warm and cool colors to do something called push and pull space. And when I do the Bible journaling type work, I will talk a little bit more specifically about that as a way to make things look bigger or smaller or more three-dimensional on a two-dimensional surface. So that's a little bit of color, warm and cool colors, and then using the rainbow spectrum. So this kind of maroon color, this within an art palette would be called alizarin crimson. And even though that's not a part of this here, because this is blue and yellow here, blue and yellow and red, that is a triad of colors, the primary color triad. And blue, red, and yellow, they make up every other color of the rainbow, like the combination. Now I could have just used, you know, blue and yellow and even green. There's some green in there. However, it really helps me sometimes to not do things too monochromatically or too matchy-matchy, and to have colors that are complementary, because it just helps my eye to like pick things up off the page a little bit more easily. The way that I decided how to do the colors here is orange and green, these are secondary colors, and then this right here, this alizarin crimson, it's like the same color. Red and green are complementary colors, so that works there, and it helps to make this red kind of passport, reddish brown, kind of pop away from there. This is a cool color, this is a warm color, so this advances kind of even more. If I had made this more of a cool color, then these two tones would kind of match one another too much, and it wouldn't pop off the page visually as much. Orange, purple, and green, these are all secondary colors, so that's why visually they just relate to one another. Here's another example of warm and cool blue. This is more of a warm blue, this is a cool blue. And these headers are both just about the same size, but a warm color actually will appear to be visually expansive, meaning it looks slightly bigger than a cool color. It's a little bit of an optical illusion, but that's kind of how it works. This right here, this tiny little post-it note kind of die cut, and then this purple and yellow are complementary colors, so that's why I opted to choose a purple little notebook, and I could have used red or blue, but I put the purple on top of the yellow because these are complementary colors. And when you use complementary color pairings, what they actually do is they will actually emphasize one another. It's like they bring out each other's best qualities. Here's another example of warm and cool purple. This is like a warm purple, and this is like a cool purple. And visually, even though they're on the same plane of the page, this warmer version of this color on the same plane of this page, it feels like it kind of is slightly ahead visually than this cool purple. Here we go. These are relational colors because they're all cool colors. Blue, green, and then this cool gray. These are all cool colors, so this visually looks like it kind of works together. We'll come down here. Red, whitish gray, blue. This is called representational colors. This is a color kind of triad sort of grouping that's familiar to most people, red, white, and blue, so it naturally looks a little bit like it belongs together. It's also called local color, local or representational. Red and green, complementary colors. Blue and orange, complementary colors. Yellow and purple, complementary colors. That's why structurally, just based upon color, this ends up looking like it's cohesive, and like these stickers, though they're all unrelated, they go together. It's strictly because of the color representation. Let me flip the page. So this is more of a neutral one, but I did pull in warm colors. This is a washi clip, and this is the way that I like to do washi. Instead of putting on a card, I made this washi clip, and I will link the description for this video in, or I'll link the link for this video in the description of this one. So there's my quote sticker that I designed. Oh, I designed all of these right there, and the little charm bracelet weekend banner that I love. So this is definitely, you know, the neutral that is trending. That center washi there is black and white with gold foil kind of dots. And you see kind of the gold foil from Michaels kind of all over the place. But just aside from that, I did pull in yellow, and the yellow is a little bit of a connection to the gold foil. Here we have this animal print that's yellow, like warm yellow on top of cool yellow. And even though that's animal print, because it's that golden kind of color, even though this is all kinds of different, I mean, this is kind of a dotted pattern, this kind of from farther away, it looks a little bit of like a dotted pattern. Even this over here, this has a little bit of visual texturing, kind of dotted. But because of this dotted kind of visual texturing, it works in all of these different ways. And I kind of feel like, especially when you have something that is black and white, the black and white kind of color palette, it can be really, really wonderful and eye-catching. I think that that's why black and white is trending and why it's always really, really classic. But if you don't have anything that's a warm color to kind of pull it in there, or like even just these neutrals, these tans, then the black and white can be a little bit too high contrast and just kind of harsh on the eye to see. Let's look at the next one. So here's a little more of a rainbow palette. And if ever you have any questions whatsoever about what kind of palette to do, like you're just kind of at a loss, think about color palettes that are already pre-existing or that are found in nature. Like this would be like kind of earth and sky sort of thing, like water, and then here is like leaves. And then you can just kind of spring off of that. Here is another one. And this one kind of springs off of this kind of sunglasses glasses that are red, white, and blue with some black in there. And I do have some warm colors in there, but the most of what you see, it all fits within the general spectrum, the palette of the red, white, and blue. There are cool and warm versions of that blue. And then we draw on a little bit of the gray that is a derivative of black as much as it's here on the washi tape. We have the purple here, and the purple works with the blue just because purple relationally, blue and red make purple, so that's why that kind of works. And then yellow is a complementary color to purple, so that's why that kind of works. And had I not put that kind of brighter, warm little pencil in there, then this area right here might have looked just too dark visually. So this just helps everything to be emphasized, or just kind of a little more easy for the eye to see in their own standalone sort of ways. And this is all before the pen, and I do this pre-stickering, and then what I do is I will go in later, kind of whenever I get to this week, and then I will put in icon stickers, or I will put in die cut stickers in order to make any of these places, these areas where I fill in order to just make them and differentiate them for whatever it is that I want them to stand for. Here's another one. This is a little bit of you know, neutral but animal print. And these are, most of these weekend banners that you're gonna see are ones that I designed myself. But in looking at this, you should start to kind of see a little bit of, I hate to say like a trend, but just a pattern, a pattern, because that's basically what trends are, like trending. Whatever is kind of a commonly seen pattern. But these should start to make sense to you now that I've talked about color theory and how colors relate to one another and how you don't have to have a predetermined sticker set. You can mix them up if you want to. This is all, you know, greens and yellows, and this is, again, warm greens and cool greens and yellows. And just by using warm and cool colors, you can also just stick to a certain segment of the color wheel or the color spectrum. And just by using warm and cool colors, you can still make something look cohesive. Even though it doesn't seem like necessarily watermelon should go with like the different patterns and prints and things, because relationally that's how I use color to structure the page, then even though they're different patterns and things, they can still look like they are complementary to each other. Red and green, like I said, are complementary colors. Here's another one. This is a little more of like the teal, and then that center washi is like paisley. And then I can even pull in some like seemingly random stuff, like this little banner here, checkoff banner. This is actually from a breakfast set. From far off, it doesn't really, you don't really notice that much, but even this right here, this is a little bit of a leftover from a press set. But because it's in the cool palette, I mean, it works well enough. And I already have kind of laid some die cut stickers over top of it, but that's just because I know that on those specific days I need to get certain things done as it has to do with book illustrations. A little bit of a beach theme. We did not get to go to the beach this year, but my planner pages can make me feel like I'm at the beach. And like I said, I'm going to go in and I'm going to be adding die cut stickers and icon stickers. So that's a little bit of how I do plan as you go. I will batch prep things, and even this right here, these little flags with the nautical theme, it goes along with this visually as much as it does per color, because here's the orange, there's the orange. Even this right here being the gingham pattern that seems like it'd be kind of a picnic, because it's in brown, it goes along a little bit better with this color palette. If that were a bright red, it would just not look, it wouldn't look as much like it coordinates or it complements. This even right here, these green kind of vines, if you've ever been to the beach and you've ever seen like a clump of seaweed or just some of the foliage that grows by the beach, that draws in the idea of things that might be found on the beach, so that's why that kind of goes. So another one, blue and orange, complementary color pairing, so that's why these two, they look like they can go well enough together. This right here, this little kind of page checkoff banner, that's eggs, but from afar it looks like it could be flowers as much, and then it matches the color scheme. This one was a little bit far-reaching. This magenta looking kind of warm purpley pink, but that's pulling from the washi tape, so it works just as well. If I would have set this a little bit closer, and I did consider that, this would have been too close in tone to that, so that's why I broke it up. So this is a warm blue, cool blue, warm color. So warm, cool, warm. Here's another one. The center right here, these are feathers. This is more of a pastel sort of a layout, and because the rainbow spectrum is found there in the watercolor style washi tape feathers, then it works just to have all kind of very neutral kind of pastel tones in just the whole of everything. And even though this has stripes on it, the stripes are subtle because it's pastel. Here we have a leftover from Planting Roses set, and that it's so subtle because it's pastel that it doesn't look like it's too terribly off. It's also a little bit in the watercolor style, so stylistically, visually it works. Here's one where I mixed up some washi tape a little bit. Made it look a little bit like that gutter here of the page is a mini cityscape. The road, so it looks like this is, you know, like a neighborhood kind of main street. Here again, there's the funny kind of toast. But I just used all smaller stickers, and this would be like Taco Tuesday. It's from a Cinco de Mayo set. But this is just like a rainbow kind of color palette. Here is another kind of a cityscape, but this is a little more kind of urban looking from me and my big ideas. And since this is enough a rainbow, like I pulled enough of it, this is actually Galaxy Half Box from Rory's Sweet Addiction, I think. But just because of the color palette, them being a little more bold sort of colors and higher contrast, then I can pull in things like that and it doesn't look too weird, it doesn't look too off. This one is a little bit more kind of heavily stickered up, the way that I might naturally sticker a page. So rainbow palette. Here is one next to last one. And this is mostly kind of reds and greens with just a little bit of blue pulled in there, and then the black as something of a high contrast. But there's black in there, otherwise I would have used gray. I would have used maybe like a warm gray had there not been a black there. But because there's black, you don't want to use too much because it could overpower the page. But just that one pop, it's just enough to inject just the right amount of contrast in there so that you still have the colorful kind of lightness to it. The lightness and brightness with just enough contrast of the black. And like I said, this is how I do paintings, drawings, anything. I use color as a way to structure most anything. And here I wanted to emphasize this column here, so that's why I use black, springing off of the black there. But I still wanted to keep it kind of light, and I mixed up patterns here. This is kind of a gold tone with a little bit of warmth, but then with this gold, that just kind of works. And that's it. That's it for the planner pages, and just, you know, looking at planner stickers as much as just looking at it by structure of color. And I hope this was helpful for you. So thank you so much for watching the video today. And I hope that what I shared with you was helpful to you and was inspiring and was something that gave you something to consider, especially if you have been in any sort of a funk as it has to do with like your own planning style or your approach, or just feeling like you want to refresh the way that you do planning. We are in the midst of a little bit of a change of seasons, getting ready to head into the school year, whether you are a parent or if you are the student. I mean, we're headed into fall. I love fall. You can see kind of the color scheme here. The palette of this is my bedroom where I am, just because it's the most ideal place to sometimes film, because it's kind of out of the way of everybody else and all the traffic of the household. But that's most of the reason why I will film like intros and things in here, and sometimes videos. But you know, we're getting ready to enter into a new season. We're coming out of summer, and so a lot of people I know are changing planner binders. They're reconsidering their planner page setups. They're even thinking about trying to establish themselves in a whole new system. And so what I hope to do is offer you all maybe some options that you have not considered before, or from watching my videos, my daily videos, some of what I have shared has piqued your interest, or from interacting with me on Instagram. So, like I said in the intro, I've thought long and hard about how I can teach you all, because I have my master's in education, and I'm formerly a classroom teacher of more than a decade of professional education experience. And prior to me working from home and doing the homeschool mom thing, I was the head of the art and design department at a pretty large high school, and I also did work with marketing and brand stuff and all that stuff. I've like gone through this before, but my goal with my channel, and whether I'm doing planning stuff or whether I'm doing like Wife of a Chef stuff or whether I'm doing DIY stuff, is just to share with you all so that you are afforded something that I have affectionately referred to as lifelong learning, which basically means everyday learning, everyday creativity, or at least this is what it means to me, everyday learning and everyday creativity that is like, that's useful to you in the most applied, applicable, like everyday applicable sort of way possible. Just because I do believe that planning is an essential part of success, or even just general balance in life. If you think about what the body would be like without the structure of the skeleton, think about planning as being a little bit of like the skeletal system for your dreams or for your career aspirations. Or even just for the way that you feel during a day. Planning gives you a structural system of which you can just kind of like have to hold you up, so that when plans kind of need to go out the window, at least you had that structure kind of holding you up, so that when you kind of have to drop everything, or when things need to be changed at the very last minute, you don't necessarily feel like you have been, or that you don't necessarily feel like you are falling apart because like the plans kind of went a little bit awry and they started to fall apart. I know that for myself and challenges that I have managed in my own life, and I've managed a lot of life challenges. If you've watched my videos or connected with me on Instagram, or like I've mentioned this, but I don't like to bring it up a whole lot, just because a lot of the things personally that I've been through, that I've gone through, they are triggering for people to hear about, meaning they are very, very difficult for people to hear, because it's very disturbing information that I would otherwise share about my personal life. And I always try to be really sensitive to other people and how information that I might offer might make them feel. Maybe that's because I'm a teacher, maybe it's because I formerly worked in a psychiatric hospital, I'm not sure, but I always really try to be as sensitive and as courteous and considerate as possible to other people and how they receive the things that I share with them. So, that going back to kind of like what I said before, planning has helped me immensely throughout my entire life, because I've kind of always been a planner girl, even though I haven't always been such an active member of like the wonderfully, amazingly established planner community that now exists and is growing at an alarming rate, but I think it's so exciting. But planning has always been a major, major part of my life in order for me to have the success that I've had, and for me to have just the steadiness that I've had during all of the big kind of twists and turns and major wakes of life. So that's in large part why I am such an advocate for planning, and why I like to try and be a helper to those who want to do planning. And you know, that in turn kind of makes it so that I end up doing a lot of videos about planning. But they do all go back to, I feel like, trying to make your dreams kind of into things that come to fruition, and bring about the things that you like want to accomplish in life, want to do. So that's it for this video, but this is going to be ongoing. You know, this is going to connect to other videos that are coming, and I'm really going to do my best to try and touch upon all of the things that I've kind of gleaned from you all just over time in me doing these daily videos, and so many of them about planning. So thank you all for that. Thank you for inspiring me and helping me to do what I really enjoy, which is to be here, a part of the YouTube community as much as part of the DIY community, as much as part of the planning community. So that's it for this video. I will see you in tomorrow's daily video. Thank you so very much for spending all your time with me today, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Bye.